Good evening, everyone. This is Pineleaf Needles, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in DDO and here at DDO Players. And please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Draculetta.
Greetings, everyone. I hope everybody has recovered from their turkey-based coma if you live in the United States.
And recovered from Black Friday.
And that, too. If you went
Yeah.
shopping, good luck to you. At least you were brave enough to go out in those throngs of people. I was not.
Yes, I heard over the weekend that there were plenty of people who were doing Black Friday shopping in the UK, and a sports announcer from London said, "Thank you, United States, for introducing them to the concept of Good Friday, of Black Friday, I mean." Yes. All right, let's go into the game news for tonight, and there isn't much. It can be summed up in one word: Chronicles 120. Okay, that's 2 words.
I was going to say, technically, that would be 2 words, but
Yes.
we get what you were going at, though.
Yeah, very succinctly, yes. Chronicle 1, yes, right. Because of the holiday week, things weren't exactly spinning at turbine. So therefore, they gave us their various highlights. And what are the highlights for this week?
Well, the Damsels of DDO is a new podcast and Twitch stream featuring Alessa, who was our guest a few episodes ago. They've had their first episode out, and they also have their second episode out now as well. So you can click on the link in the community spotlight of the Chronicle to see that. Tom116 is having a giveaway if you're on Galanda. So if you play on Galanda, click on that to see more of that event. And fan site news, we have DDO Cast. Their latest episode is out now. I started listening to it today. I haven't listened to all of it yet. They cover weapon damage calculations. It's very in-depth, very mathy, and very crunchy. So if you've ever wanted to know how weapon damage is calculated, this is the episode for you to listen to.
I don't hear anyone rushing out to do it, but
Yeah, and when they say in the Chronicle that they get crunchy, it's very, very in-depth and very mathy. But if you enjoy that type of stuff, this is right down your alley. Also, Ginger Spice has a new video series that they are starting. You can click on the link in the Chronicle to check that out. Elsewhere, the Wednesday weekly live stream last week, Cordovan and a couple of the devs took a look at the Barbarian enhancements which are currently on Lamania. So if you play a Barbarian, or if you're just kind of curious as to what those changes will look like, you can watch the stream. You can watch it either on their Twitch page or their YouTube page. Links are provided to that. And really, that is about it for the Chronicle this week.
So we do see that we have a nice tribute to a fallen hero in our screenshot of the week. And this is screenshot of the week 199, which means the next one will be number 200. If you're therefore interested in wanting to be the 200th screenshot, I suggest you get in your shot very quickly. Unless, of course, they've chosen it already, but I don't know when they usually choose their screenshots of the week.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I don't know if they do it like they have them already planned out ahead of time, or they wait and just do it before the Chronicle comes out. And I don't think
we should have asked them when we.
Yes, we should have. That is something we should have asked Cordovan when we had him here. But I don't think I would want that job because there are some amazing screenshots I've seen people take. So how would you pick something to be your weekly screenshot? Because there's so many good screenshots.
Well, yes, that does make it a bit challenging on trying to do that. All right. Now, what is on sale then this week?
The free sample of the week through December 4th is a Bell of Opening. You get one of those per account. Coupon code this week is OPEN28. Once again, that coupon code is OPEN28.
I think I got one of those off. Actually, I got 5 of those off of a roll, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. I can't remember if it was your silver or your gold, but you did get.
I think it was a silver.
Also in the store this week, 20% off adventure packs and Quest XP elixirs. And if you want to know which specific adventure packs are included in that sale, there will be links in the show notes with them all listed out. I'm not going to read them all. It's basically just about every adventure pack, I think. I haven't sat and tried to figure out if it's every one, but from the look of the list, they're pretty much all on sale at 20% off this week.
Well, that's quite a list.
Yeah, that's why I said I really don't think I'm going to read all those. So go check the show notes if you want to see which ones are included.
Let's go into the site news. But because of the holiday weekend, we also had a slow week. But there was a competition for a Turbine Point giveaway, and I believe that Drac has an announcement of who the winner is.
Yes, we actually gave away, if you remember last week, if you listened to the show, we gave away 2 codes during the course of the podcast last week. So we decided, well, we'd give people that didn't have a chance to listen to the show on the website a chance to win 2 codes as well. You had until this morning, which would be Monday, December 1st at 10 a.m. to enter. At a little bit after 10 this morning, I counted up all the people that were there. I went through the entries to make sure there was no duplicates. Went to the wonderful random.org, drew 2 numbers out of the 112 entries we had, and so far I have heard back from one of the winners, and that would be Helios, and the other winner I'm waiting to hear from. If I don't hear by him from Friday, I'm going to award the code to somebody else. So if you left a comment, check your email. It could be you.
All right. Thank you on that. Now we'll head into news beyond DDO, and it looks like that Tiamat is not going to let us go because
Nope.
looks like her heads are rising on the tabletop.
Yeah, there is a video series called Tabletop Adventures over at GameTrailers.com, and they had a special edition of the episode of that with Chris Perkins, who of course works for Wizards of the Coast, and he DM'd them through the Rise of Tiamat. It's like a 3, almost 4-hour video to watch. I haven't watched the whole thing yet, but it's really good. So if you kind of want to see how somebody from Wizards of the Coast that actually wrote 5e, DMs 5e, you might want to watch this. Or if you're just curious on what the Rise of Tiamat our 5e is like, now is your chance. So go ahead.
If it's only 3 or 4 hours, it sounds like it must be edited down or it's a very short adventure.
Yeah, I'm not sure on. Like I said, I've only watched probably 45 minutes of it, maybe.
Okay, or it's episode 1 of 20.
Yeah, but it's kind of cool to see somebody from Wizards of the Coast actually DMing 5e for a group of folks. So head on over to GameTrailers.com and check that out. You can get the link also in the show notes.
All right, very well. And now, we talked earlier about some point code giveaways that we had. I think it's time for another one tonight since it is our episode 10. So let's celebrate that by giving another Turbine Point code.
Well, we can do that. Let me count to see how many people are in the chat room.
How many are in the chat room? They all suddenly perk up.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to go to random.org again, and we will do that just randomly, of course. The winner of the code is Pendrax. 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 You just won yourself 500 turbine points. All you got to do is just email us at podcast@ddoplayers.com. Once again, podcast@ddoplayers.com. Tell me you were Pendrax in the chat room, you won some point codes, and I will send your code on to you after the show.
Very well. Thank you on that. So let's go into our week in DDO.
Sorry, I was typing to the chat room.
Oh, okay. Oh, what?
Yeah, darn chat room got me again. This week, I started a new character, actually. I took advantage. We didn't talk about it because it's actually over now, or it will be over when this podcast is released. But they had some Black Friday sales going on, and the Shadowfell expansion was actually on sale. So I picked that up, and that got me some new characters. So I started a a Shatterkai Assassin, which started out at level 15. So I am enjoying the heck out of playing that. It is a pretty sweet class. You got some pretty cool attacks you can do. And when I backstab, I really backstab people. I basically one-shotted somebody with a backstab because I critical hit him, so it was awesome. I ran 2 quests with that assassin, the Disciples of Shar and the Escape Plan. I plan to hopefully play more on that this week. I didn't have a lot of DDO time this week because I was kind of busy with the holidays and everything.
Right.
We also, of course, did our Wednesday night, which I will let you talk about because I basically did the same thing you do because we play together. Imagine how that works.
Yeah, amazing.
The only other thing that I did that it's not really DDO related, but it's D&D
Close
related.
enough.
Yeah. It's Black Friday. A group of my friends for the past probably 6 years have gotten together and we do gaming on that night. And this year we decided they wanted to run some 5e. So I found on Reddit where somebody had converted the classic Ravenloft to 5e. So I ran them through that, well, through the starting stages of it. Of course, we didn't get through all of it because it's a really long module. But they did manage to survive their first encounter with Strahd, which I'm still ticked about, and they're going to pay for it later.
For surviving?
Yeah, nobody died. I was hoping I would at least kill one of them, but they kind of cheated, actually.
Cheated?
Well, let me rephrase that. I guess I won't say they cheated, but they kind of gamed the system. Two of them grappled Strahd and was holding him, so basically I couldn't attack with Strahd because I kept getting some really crappy dice rolls and I couldn't break free. And then that left the only player that could turn their weapon into something that was magical, because of course if you know the Ravenloft mod, the only weapon that will hit Strahd has to be some type of magic weapon, and of course they didn't have anything that was magical. But and I forgot which class he was, he had something, it was the Paladin, could do invocation and he could make his weapon holy and magical for I think like 10 minutes. So he was actually doing some damage on Strahd. Finally, they got him down enough to where Strahd just missed it out and went back to his coffin to contemplate how he's going to kill them all slowly later on. So that's where they're at. They're ready now to go talk to the gypsies in the camp and get their fortune read to find out where they need to go next and what holy symbol they need to find and where they can find it. It's going to be very painful for them from now on. I will just tell you that.
Mm-hmm. One of those DMs.
Yeah. Yep. Silly players.
All right.
Thinking they can survive.
All right, let's go into what I did this week. We'll begin with the combination of my Artificer, level 9, who turned level 9, and Drax Ranger Rogue, who also turned level 9 during this week, where we ran the Snitch and Under the Big Top for House Fee, and that closed out that quest line, and of course they proved to be just as wild and weird as the other Class Fee quests, as the other House Fee quests. They're really, well, let's say they run it like a circus. In addition to that, when I logged in, I hit the jackpot on the gold roll. So I rolled a 00, and that was really great. And one of the items that I got in there was a panther. Mm-hmm. So now I have that in my pet inventory.
Mm-hmm. See, that's just another case of the RNG liking everybody else but me.
Mm-hmm, yes. Now, I heard a rumor that somebody received a random Christmas card from Turbine.
Yeah, well, that was the one case the RNG must have liked me. But
okay.
It likes me in real life, but not in game, okay?
Okay. All right, let's go to my level 3 paladin, the one who's a member of the guild. It was the Sublime Permadeath Guild. I ran the Butcher's Path and the Miller's Death. Those I ran solo. The first one because I forgot to get a new hireling, and the second one because it was a solo quest. So those were fairly straightforward. Well, okay. Maybe the Butcher's Path wasn't straightforward, but being the Butcher's Path. but I got through it well enough. And then I decided to go into the waterworks and run the Lost Seekers, where this time I had a cleric with me. Everything was going fine until I got to that room where you have those kobolds standing on on pillars.
Oh, that. I hate that area, and that must have been scary on a permadeath.
Yeah, that was really nasty. We got these kobolds throwing us all over the place. Killed my cleric because the cleric doesn't know enough to get out of the way of all those slingers. So therefore my cleric died. So I don't know what the exact rule is in that guild concerning how you handle your hirelings when they get killed. So I decided the hireling is out until I return to town.
So you're saying you used your poor cleric as a meat shield?
Not intentionally. And besides that, when you have a cleric, the last thing you want to do is to use them as a meat shield and get killed. Now, I got knocked down to -1, but somehow I made my stabilization roll, which I think is a 10% chance or something weird like that. I don't know how many chances you get if same thing like the original rules or something is, but therefore I made the stabilization roll and got back up to that tiny little amount, drank just about every single healing potion I had in my bags. Then I finally got around to climbing that ladder and killing those last 3 slingers that were being a real pain. So I survived the room, but I was pretty low as a result of this. I did go through the rest of the dungeon, get to a shrine where I healed myself up, or at least as well as I could, because it wasn't enough in order for a shrine to heal me up completely. Then I finished the dungeon, and I think it was about 15 minutes later I came back to the shrine to heal myself again because I was being pounded upon. This was a tough dungeon. And finally, I finished the dungeon, got out of it. Oh, but this is a dungeon that has a sequel dungeon where there's an exit that leads into another dungeon where they have the actual freeing the prisoners. And I was trying to decide how I would handle that situation. I decided, okay, I guess in RP wise, I would go in and continue to the next phase. So I went to the next section, which is where you're trying to free all those prisoners. And at that point, they eventually got too much for me because I was just whittled down. I could not find a rest shrine there. And I was just eventually torn to little pieces by all these kobolds. I gave it a pretty good try, and I made it through a good deal of it, but I could not get all the way through. So that ended that character.
Oh no, you lost another permadeath character?
I lost another permadeath character.
Oh, Pine Leaf.
Yeah, I know. Oh, well.
So how many is that now that you have gone?
Well, that is 3 down.
Oh, somewhere there's the sound of taps being played.
Right. So I decided to go back to my on system for permanent characters. This was, in other words, playing it on my own and with my own rule set. And
so the one that died was the one that was in the permadeath guild.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, poor Pine Leaf.
Yeah, and I created a new artificer. I've decided this time I'm going to go in alphabetical order, and I'm going to look at each of the characters, and I've set up a new rule set on how I'm going to handle various things in here. So I went through Korthos Island with this, and probably the highlight of that is when I came to the one where you're in the giantish device, I decided that I was level 3 at the time, and it was a level 1 quest, and I wanted to run it at level, so I decided to pump it up to elite.
On a permadeath character? You're nuts.
And I did learn that I don't think I ever saw a method inside that dungeon before. But it looks like when you're in elite, you run to a method or two.
Yeah, I think the last time I did it, I was on elite, so I did see one. So I can't remember if there's one in there before that. So, wow.
Right. So therefore, I ran into there. Now, in this case, my rule on this particular series that I'm doing, and in other words, playing to the various characters, is that I'm allowed 2 hirelings. I have one that I get from the vendor, and I also have the one from the starter pack. So I've running with that hire. So therefore I had a cleric from there. The other one, actually I think the other one was, so I think I had 2 clerics with me or something weird like that. I don't remember if it was 2 clerics or if I had a cleric and a fighter or something like this. But when I came to the point where you have the trap that you're supposed to do the puzzle with,
yep,
I told the clerics to stay put. I'm sorry. Last time I took a hireling through that section, they were just turned into frozen food, you know. So therefore, I just had them stay put while I solved the puzzle. So therefore, that was the highlight in there. I finished Korthos, then went into the harbor and ran the first few warehouse quests, and therefore I completed the one. This included the one where that killed an earlier paladin, and
Mm-hmm.
despite the fact that I had a paladin that was killed by that one, I did decide to run it at hard, and I found with an artificer, I don't think I had any trouble with it at all. Of course, I did have with me the permanent cleric, and I had hired a barbarian. So I had this barbarian also going on to do some tanking for me. And that seemed to work pretty well. All right. And that is pretty much how it and my artificer is still alive.
So far, at least.
Yes, so far. So, you want to give another point code?
Well, let's do that. The chat room is very chatty tonight, so let's go ahead and give them another turbine point code. Let me count. Let me do the roll. Looks like McQuiggan just got himself 500 turbine points. Email us, podcast@ddoplayers.com. podcast@ddoplayers.com. Tell me you were McQuiggan in the chat room and won. I will send you your code.
All right, congratulations. So now we'll go into feedback. As for the iTunes reviews, no, we don't have any, right? And therefore we'll go into featured comments.
Yes, and this week we are going to feature some comments from our Turbine Point giveaway thread that we had. Jeff Hanna said, the more podcasts, the merrier.
Mock Taskmaster said, I'm all for freebies. I'm all for listening to podcasts while at work. I'm in. Keep it up. And keep getting the interviews, too.
Lexi said, as if the podcast wasn't cool enough, you give away some TP to double the coolness.
And Spyweb says, awesome! Being the seventh son of a poor dwarf clan armor, any god-given gold would go a long way. Yet the gods are whimsical as to whom they give their benevolence.
That is an awesome comment. and this is the best name ever, by the way. Packy Muley Duor. I love that name. Said, thanks for the cast, and I hope I get to win the die cast. Ah, I see what he did there.
All right. And you can email us at podcast@ddoplayers.com. And we did not receive any emails this week, but we would love you to send us one. And especially we'd like to get some emails from the people who we drew during this episode. You can also follow us at Twitter. You go to the Players Alliance at Players Ally. DDO Players at DDO Players, Draculetta at Draculetta_72, and Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles. The Players Alliance now has 3 live shows every week. We have 3 shows, each at 8:30 p.m. server time, which is United States server time. On Mondays, we have DDO Players News. On Thursdays, we have Guild Wars Players News. And on Saturdays, we have Locho Players News. And that is all for tonight, and this is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to loot those treasure chests.